How to spot the angel landlord. Stay tuned.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
What a privilege. What a privilege. Cleo Witt here, weapon property manager in our industry. And it is hard to get a property manager on social media in Australia.
Especially at this time of morning.
Well, you guys are way too busy.
We still wake early, but that, first 2-3 hours before work, we get a lot of stuff done as well. Good morning.
Far out. Good morning. Good morning. So, Cleo, topic we've chosen for our guests is, the angel landlord. And I do think, tenants dream of these landlords, and I do think it's they do need a little bit of a pat on the back. So you're looking after in our agency 500 landlords, and you've been doing this for how long?
Oh, too long. 15 years plus, I think. I've stopped counting now, definitely.
So you're not a property manager who's got out of being a beauty therapist into property management for a year and then back out into beauty therapy. You are a career property manager.
Committed to the task, that's for sure.
Committed. So my point is you're qualified for this. So let's talk about the landlord and some of your favourites out there, some of the favourite landlords out there. Put them in your brain, one of them, two of them, or three of them. Tell me how they are a great landlord or an angel landlord.
Look, I think with any client that you have, building a rapport is really important to start. Once you've built a rapport for a period of time, that whole trust and relationship becomes easier. Of course, if you're a new client or a new owner and you've just got your property manager for the first time, you've definitely got to build up, those layers where you can hand over your huge bag of cash and let them look after it. But I guess some of my would say, angel landlords are the ones that don't interfere too much with the process, let me manage. And, when I need to get them involved, they're happy to help. And then they sort of take a bit of a step back. But, that does come after time as well.
Bit of trust.
Yeah, it's a two-way street, and things like maintenance, jobs and that can cost a lot of money. You definitely do still need to engage, but it does make it easier when the owner understands we use good local trades. We're looking at getting them the most secure job in the shortest amount of time for the not the cheapest, but the best quality and all that sort of stuff. So.
And you, two things you said. One, you said, I love what you said, is it's like you said a bag of cash. So it's like someone's giving you a bag of cash of $1 million or 700,000 or whatever the property value is. And they're saying, I trust you with this. I'll leave this with you, but I want to get this bag of cash back with the same amount of money that's in it, actually more. So you're a bit of a trustee in that way. And then another thing you mentioned, you're saying, was to trust that process. So it's not a landlord that'll just go along with everything that you say, but there's got to be that sort of respect amongst each other, where they can trust that you're very transactional. You've done what you're doing many times, so they'll trust that the process that you found in your work and your processes to say, okay, Cleo, do what you got to do.
Yeah, and we're governed by the Residential Tenancies Act. We're all licensed and certified. We do things correctly in the best way. so apart from just the trust, you know, we also have the experience to be able to guide the owner in certain scenarios. When I say process, there's so much involved in managing a property, and we've, you know, narrowed down all these processes that work the best. And yeah, we just, you know, the angel owner and client, you know, recognizes that we do have that knowledge, and you know, we're going to have their best interests at heart.
An angel landlord, are they like that from the beginning, or do they become like that in time?
Look, some owners that are investors and have been for a long time, they might have an investment portfolio of 10, 15 properties plus. They know what to look for. And once you've ticked all those boxes, then yeah, they like I said, trust the process. But it is rare to have that trust straight off the bat. You do have to build it up. And every tenant's different, you know, and the scenario can change. You know, the tenants do play a big part of that whole trust process with the owner as well. And that's where we step in as the, you know, middle people. We, you know, present the tenant as well as looking after the owner.
And something you mentioned that when we were off air was the word landlord. In Melbourne, they've blown up the word landlord. They call it, I think they think it's derogatory. An owner of a property being a lord and a tenant not being a lord. You know, so that's changing as well now in our industry. So what are you seeing? I guess my question is, you know, there's tenant advocates. There's the non-use of the word landlord. Are you seeing sort of that change in our industry now, where it's becoming more of an even playing field for tenants and landlords, or are you seeing tenants with the upper hand or landlords with the upper hand, or it's pretty level?
Yeah, I don't believe that whole landlord versus tenants exists anymore. We are so heavily regulated, and a lot of the tenants as well are property owners also. So our times are different, where, you know, you just had your tenant that just pays the rent, and the owner who collects the cash and has all this money, especially now with the 13 interest rate rises for the owners, and, you know, tenants are getting rent increases. I think there's a level of respect on both sides, and I am seeing that a lot. I speak to a lot of owners who, you know, empathize so much with their tenants. They really want the tenant to not be hurting, especially over Christmas, and, you know, when factoring in an increase and things like that. They do take it all in their stride and think about everything. At the end of the day, it is an investment for them, and of course they, you know, a business, but, you know, we're all people. And I just think the way that we've evolved in property management is, you know, there is a lot more respect for both sides, for sure.
So if you're a tenant, you've had the not angel landlords, nice way of saying it, and you've had the angel landlord. From a tenant's perspective, is it quite similar for for an angel landlord, or most importantly, how do they spot them as well? You know, tenants out there.
Well, the way that the property is presented is a big indication, for one. So if you go to an open home and the property's clean and doesn't look run down, that's an indication the owner cares about the people that are going to be renting it. When you go to those places that are, you know, dire and the kitchen's falling apart and it's purely a cash cow, like, some tenants are desperate in that situation, and we totally understand that. But a property has to look a certain way. Like, would you live in that property? If you wouldn't live in that property, how can you expect a tenant to move in and pay you rent for that property?
You know what? I'm a little bit embarrassed because I didn't even think about that. That is a bloody good one for a tenant to watch out for. But they are going to be paying a little bit more for something that's that's loved.
For sure. If you want all the mod cons and the aircon and the dishwasher and all that sort of stuff, it is, you know, something as an expense. And just like the owners, they have to maintain that during the whole tenancy, and that can be costly. You know, we replace appliances all the time, things like that. And on the same token, when a property is old and run down, you can't expect as a tenant to be paying, you know, the cheapest rent and then move in and expect the owner to upgrade it into a, you know, a better price bracket property.
Isn't it funny that the angel landlord actually does get rewarded? People will pay an extra dollar for you know, if they've given love to that property, love, which is love, and they give love to their tenants, those tenants will come in and actually pay a little bit more. And it seems like a much more matrimonial relationship between landlord, tenant, agent. I never thought about that. I never thought about that.
And tenants as well, they look after a property better when they know their owner is looking after them. You know, they'll steam clean carpets every 6 months. At the routine inspections, they make sure they've reported anything that's an issue that they don't want the owner to have to, you know, spend money on later by leaving it. Things like that, you know, having the property professionally cleaned when they move out. All that sort of stuff comes in hand with the relationship, how it's been, the breakup, the start, you know, it's interesting.
Cleo, you've even helped me today. Thank you. We've spoken about angel landlords, how to spot them with Cleo Whittier, expert property manager. Hopefully you can share this with a friend, or this helped you today. But there's some really good nuggets that you gave us, so thanks heaps.
Thanks. See you later. Bye.
Thanks, legend. Bye.